I have an interesting new product in the State of Charge garage here today, which we're going to be reviewing. This is made by RoamEnergy, and it's called the External Discharge Device. This allows Tesla vehicles to offload power, basically turning your Tesla's battery into an energy storage device. The Tesla Cybertruck has the ability to send power back to your home. And Tesla just announced that the new Model Y Performance also has a vehicle to load feature. But the older Tesla vehicles don't have any ability to offload power, to allow you to use your battery to power external devices like many other electric vehicles allow you to do. But this device here is supposed to allow Teslas to offload power. Now, not all Teslas. Your Tesla has to be the 2021 and newer models, the ones that speak the CCS language. And I'll show you later how to find out exactly if your Tesla would be compatible with this device here. We're going to test it out here today. It's supposed to be able to deliver up to 3,500 watts. That's 3.5 kilowatt. It can deliver 32 amps at 120 volts. It has 2 power outlets to let you power devices. And I just think it's a super interesting product to have. There's many things that you can use this for if it works as advertised. And it should, because this device actually has been available in China and I think some European markets now for a while, and they've sold quite a bit of these, but it's now coming to the US as a new North American product. It's slightly different and it's just now launching. I think this month it's going to be available. Now it's pretty expensive, which we'll get into shortly next, but for first, let's open up the box and see what comes inside. All right, well, let's see what we have here. We've got the unit here. It feels like it weighs maybe about 6 pounds, but I'll check that out later. It has a leather strap on the top, or you see the leather or faux leather, and it says RoamEnergy here on the side. Electric Vehicle External Discharge Device. On this side here, we've got the power button. We've got 2 120 volt outlets, and on the rear, there is sort of like a power supply inlet. Looks like an inlet for a micro SD card. A 3-position switch. I read the instructions on this and it said if for some reason the unit doesn't work, toggle the switch to either side position. It's set in the middle position, which is like a 0, but on the one side it's a 1 and on the other side it's a 2. And I'll talk to Roam about that during the review and try to get clarification on why exactly that is. But the instruction said if it doesn't work, just toggle this and it will work on one of these positions, which is kind of interesting. And then also an Ethernet cable plug in here. I see this opening here for a fan. It's obviously going to need some kind of cooling. The cable looks like it's about 5 feet long, 5 or 6 feet long, and it's got the NACS connector here. It also does have the button here that will open the charge port, at least should. We'll test that out later. And here is the user manual. It says, user manual, new energy vehicle discharge gun. You could tell that is Chinese terminology. They call electric vehicles new energy vehicles. It's a small pamphlet here, 4 pages, well, actually 8 pages because you've got front and back. This here is a certificate. The product has passed safety inspection and was allowed to leave the factory. And on the other side is your warranty card. There is a plug here with a 12 volt kind of like cigarette lighter on one end. And then this is where you plug in the back. From what I understand, this is used, if you don't use the unit for like a month or so, there's a single battery inside and that can die. And what you have to do then, if it's not working, is plug this into the vehicle's 12-volt supply and plug it in here and leave it plugged in for a little while. The battery needs to charge up so this thing can start up and initiate the charging. So if you don't use this frequently, which you probably won't, you probably have to use this. That could be a little bit of a pain, but we'll talk about it later. It also includes a thumb drive here with a micro SD card in the back. I suppose this could be for initiating updates. But again, I'll talk with RoamEnergy about exactly why they have this here. But it comes with it at least, which is good. You don't have to use your own. Okay, so before we start the review now, let's first take a quick look at the key features of this external discharge device. The full retail price for the RoamEnergy external discharge device is $1,299. Yikes. But I do have good news. State of Charge followers that want to buy the unit can get $300 off by using my special coupon code. I'll give you the details later in the video, and that'll bring the price down to $1,000 even. This is a 120 volt unit. It will not dispense 240 volt, just 120 volt. The maximum amperage is 32 amps continuous. Maximum output is 3,500 watts, which is 3.5 kilowatt. The unit weighs about 8 pounds, but then when you include the cable, it weighs 9 pounds, 12 ounces. I weighed it. The dimensions are 11.75 inches long by 5 inches wide by 5.25 inches high. As for compatibility, it only works with 2021 and on Tesla vehicles, and specifically the ones with CCS compatibility. And I'll explain how to figure out if your vehicle will work with this a little later in the video. The unit is not water resistant, so you cannot use this outside if it's raining. It has automatic overcurrent shutdown, so if you overdraw the 3,500 watts, it should shut off. We'll test that later. The low battery cutoff is 20% state of charge. Once the vehicle hits 20% state of charge, this is going to shut off. It won't continue to draw energy from the battery. The operating temperature is 14 degrees Fahrenheit to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm a little concerned about the 14 degrees Fahrenheit because there's plenty of places in the country here in the US that get a lot colder than that in the winter. So if you do have the unit, I'd imagine you want to keep it in the cabin, get it nice and warm before you're going to use it. And then while it's being used, it's probably going to keep itself warm enough, but still, I'd feel a lot better if that low-end temperature was under 0 degrees Fahrenheit, but it is what it is, 14 degrees Fahrenheit to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. It is UL safety certified. It comes with a 1-year warranty, and the unit is made in China. Okay, so for the first test, I'm going to do something that I think would be very useful with this unit, and that would be charge another electric vehicle. Let's say you happen to come across another EV owner that made a miscalculation and ran out a little short of a charger. You could just pull this thing out, plug it into your Tesla, and give them a little bit of a boost. Now, it's only going to deliver probably 1.2, 1.3 kilowatt to the vehicle. Very slow charging, but when people in electric vehicles run out of charge, they typically do so very close to their destination. So, you know, in a half an hour or so, it probably would charge the vehicle enough just to get them that mile or so that they need to get to the charger. So let's first see how this guy works. Let's test this button out. So, okay, so it's failing the first test. The button is not opening the charge port on the Tesla. So I'll just tap it and open it up, plug it in. Now this should be blinking red once I turn it on, or solid red, and it is. But now it's supposed to start communicating with the Tesla vehicle. There's a red Tesla symbol there in the charge port. So let's give it a few seconds. It's supposed to change to blinking green and then to green once it's ready to power. The blinking green is while it's communicating. And now the Tesla charge port is blue and blinking blue. Now it's green here. Okay, so it kind of went right from red to green. It didn't do the blinking green first while it was supposed to be communicating, unless it did and I just didn't notice it. So it's a solid green now. And I can hear the Tesla's thermal management system kicking on, which is what's supposed to happen when this starts up. So it should be good to go now. Let's plug in my Rivian portable charger. And let's see. Okay, the front of the unit should tell me it's a green light now. Hopefully that won't turn red. It's pulsing green, so Rivian's charging. Let's take a look inside and see the charging rate. Okay, so it's pulling as I expected, 1.3 kilowatts. So it passes the will it charge another electric vehicle test. But 1.3 kilowatt is nowhere near the 3.5 kilowatt that it's supposed to be able to deliver. So let's do some additional testing. And for the appliance stress test, I've traveled to a local park. I'm out in the middle of a field. There are no outlets anywhere near here. So let's say we were having some sort of an outdoor event and I wanted to use the RoamEnergy to power some electrical devices. A location like this might be where I'd use it. All right, so I've got a few devices here. I have a 1200 watt pizza oven. Come on, you had to know that I was gonna cook pizza with this thing. I've got a Keurig coffee maker that's 1470 watts. And I also have this 1500 watt heater. If you watch my EV charger reviews, you might recognize it. It's what I use for the extreme heat test to stress the units in extreme heat conditions. Okay, so first up, I'm gonna cook a pizza and make a cup of coffee at the same time. Again, the pizza oven's 1200 watts, that's 1.2 kilowatt. The Keurig here is 1470 watts, so that's 1.47 kilowatt. So together, these will be 2670 watts, which is 2.67 kilowatt. Okay, so let's first turn the unit on. I'll test this once again. Nope, doesn't work. So the button on the Tesla connector will not open the charge port. We'll tap it here, turn it on, press the unit to turn it on. I've got the red light now. It should go to blinking green is what it's supposed to go to in the manual, but if you notice before, it went right to solid green. So let me see now. Seems like it's taking a little bit longer than it did last time also. And on the charge port, well, this is blue now, which means it's starting to communicate. Now it's blinking green. Now it's solid green. So it should be good to be able to plug in now. Let me first plug in the Keurig. Then I'll plug in pizza oven. Just down here. All right, so now turn the Keurig on, turn the pizza oven on. Might notice there, I've got a pizza in there, a shrimp pizza actually. Let me turn this on. I can hear the Keurig is starting to power up, and this is also on. So right now they're both on, they're both powering up. I don't know if they're both pulling the full power that they do, but they probably should be, because when the Keurig is heating the water up, it should be pulling its full power. And the pizza oven now, I think, just runs at a constant 1200 watts because I have it turned up all the way to cook the pizza. So it's working. Both these things are cooking. Let me put in my pod. Press strong. And the button. Let's see what happens here. So far, so good. It's delivering the 2600 watts, 2.6 kilowatts, and not having a problem. And the Keurig now, the preheating is off, so it's going to start dropping the water soon, the coffee. And there it goes. So it's working. Coffee's done. Nice and hot, so no problem with that. Now we'll fast forward for a couple of minutes because it takes about 8 minutes to cook the pizza, and we'll check back when the pizza's done. All right, so the pizza's still cooking. I'm enjoying my cup of coffee, but it was getting a little chilly out here today. And cue the leaf blower on the other side of the park over there. You could probably hear that through the mic. So I turned on the heater. I unplugged the coffee maker, which is 1470 watts, plugged in the 1500 watt heater, and the oven ding, pizza's ready. So the oven was pulling 1200 watts. This is pulling 1500 watts. So we're pulling 2700 watts, still well below the 3500 watts or 3.5 kilowatt that the unit is supposed to be able to deliver. So let's check out the pizza. Looking good there. Nice shrimp and onion pizza. I'll eat that a little later. Don't want to make you guys too jealous. Okay, but so now we know that it can work fine as long as you're under the 3500 watts. But what happens when you overtax it? I honestly don't know. So let's find out. Hopefully there's no problem with the car. I borrowed my friend Pete, State of Charge Pete's Tesla Model Y, so we won't tell him that I really don't know if this is going to harm his car or not. But no, it won't. I talked to RoamEnergy about it, and supposedly the unit should just shut off. As I said earlier, they have these devices in use. They've sold a lot of them. I'm going to bring out the exact number later on. I think it was like 20,000 units or something that have been in service for over a year. This unit is just slightly different because it's for the North American market, and our systems are a little bit different. So let me plug this in. So what am I going to unplug now? I guess I'll unplug the pizza oven. I'll plug in a power strip here. Then I'll plug back the pizza oven. Okay. Then I'm going to plug in the coffee maker. Now, neither one of these are going to be on yet. Just the oven is on. So first I'm going to turn on the coffee maker. I will, let's see. It's already pre-warmed. And I'm going to turn on the coffee maker to make another cup. So now everything's on. I believe everything's on. Pizza oven's on. The heater's on. And the Keurig should be starting to work. Yes, it's starting to pour now. I hear it powering up. So right now, we're overpowering this unit. We're pulling more power than what it's supposed to be able to deliver. We're at like 4,170 watts. And now I think it just overloaded. It did. It shut off. Everything's off. So it worked. It shut off because I was drawing too much power. So now let me unplug the pizza oven. We certainly don't need the pizza oven. Unplug the pizza oven. And let me see if I could reset the unit. Let me see what happens when you reset it. It's still green. So, all right, now everything's turning on automatically. The Keurig is starting to boil the water again. This, the heater is actually on, but it's not turned on. I have to press the button. Now it's on. All right, so it worked the way it's supposed to work. What happens is, if you overload the system, it's supposed to just shut off, which it did. And then as soon as I unplugged the pizza oven, it turned back on. So it worked the way it's supposed to work. You know, so far, everything's worked fine on this. We're able to charge another electric car. I'm able to power all these devices out here in the middle of this park. So, you know, I'm satisfied with what I've seen so far. Let's head back to the State of Charge garage and talk a little bit more about how to use it and some of its limitations. All right, well, it certainly works. I've used it a few times, even off camera, and every time it's powered what I wanted to power. But how does it work? Teslas aren't supposed to be able to do this. Before we get into that, let me plug it in one more time because I want to charge up some of my batteries for my power tools while we're here talking. Okay, so again, this doesn't work. The interesting thing about that is I spoke with the company this afternoon about this, and they said it's been a little bit of a challenge for them. For some reason, it seems to work on some vehicles, but not on other vehicles. And they don't know exactly why, but they are working on it. And hopefully we'll have a solution to this so that the button on the NACS connector will open up the charge port on any Tesla. Not a real big deal because anybody can open up their charge port by pressing on it or from inside the vehicle or your app. So that's not a big deal, but it should work. And they said it works on some vehicles, which is kind of odd. Okay, so let's press this guy in. Then turn the power on. Now it's engaging the vehicle. You could hear the Tesla's thermal management system turning on. And that's how this actually works. This triggers the vehicle's thermal management system to turn on. and that sends power from the battery. And once the power is being sent from the battery to the thermal management system, then this can take power also. That's how it works. Now, the thing about that is the thermal management system is going to run for like 10, 12, maybe 15 minutes. So that's going to use some energy. It can use up to 1% state of charge, kind of wasted because you don't really need to precondition the battery at this time. Now it's getting pretty loud in here and in the garage here, and the thermal management system on the Teslas is pretty loud. Well, on all electric vehicles, but I think Teslas seem to be a little bit louder than most. In any event, that's how it works. It triggers the thermal management system to kick on, and then it can take extra power. Now, it continues to take power after the thermal management system shuts off after like 10 or 12 minutes, but that's how it actually works. That's how it tricks the vehicle to allow it to offload the power. Okay, so let me plug in these guys here and charge up my Milwaukee and my DeWalt battery. They're both on, they're both blinking, so they're both charging. Okay, so other things to talk about this. They have over 20,000 of these. It's a slightly different version because it's made for different markets, but over 20,000 sold in China, Japan, Korea, certain countries in Europe, and also Australia. And now they're finally bringing it to the US with this new version. This only is 120 volt output. That to me limits it a little bit, but we're going to talk about that a little bit later because they have another version coming out at some point, probably in 2026. And we'll get to that at the end of this review here. But it's only compatible with Tesla vehicles. It's not compatible with other electric vehicles that have a NACS port. Just Tesla vehicles, at least for now. And not all Tesla vehicles. So how do you know if your Tesla vehicle will work with it? Well, basically, if it's a 2021 or later, and most 2021s, not all. If it's an earlier than 2021 model, it's not going to work with it. But if you're on the fence because you have a 2021 and you're not sure, let's step inside the vehicle and I'll show you exactly how you can find out if this is compatible with your vehicle. So if you don't know if your Tesla is CCS compatible, it's real easy to find out. Number one, if it's newer than a 2021 model, it is. So you don't have to worry about that. If you have a 2022 or on, you definitely can use the unit. Now, if you have a 2021 model, it gets a little murky because some of the 2021 models are and some aren't. If it's older than a 2021, it's not CCS compatible. So the rub here is with 2021 models. So if you have a 2021 model, get into the vehicle like I am, go into the vehicle settings. So you want to go into control, then go into software, then go into additional vehicle info. What you want to look for here is where it says CCS adapter support enabled. If it says that, you're good to go. If it doesn't say that, well, then you have a 2021 model that was made before Tesla switched over, and it's not going to be compatible. Earlier in the review, when I did the unboxing, I mentioned that it has this 12 volt power cord to charge the battery inside. It has a single 1860 battery cell, and that will deplete if you don't use it. That's a bit of an issue that I have with this. I wish that it had a regular 120 volt plug that you could plug in and charge up that battery at home overnight. Let's say, every once a month or so, if you're not using it, you take it out of the car and you just plug it in. It's kind of a pain to plug this thing into a 12 volt outlet in the car and let it charge the battery up that way. In my opinion, I'd much prefer if I could just charge this up from a regular 120 volt source. And then getting back to the flash drive that comes with it, I spoke with the company and they said, this is if there's a problem with the unit. If you're experiencing some kind of a problem, you remove this little micro SD card and you stick it in the slot in the back. You turn it on. While it's experiencing the problem that you're having, the unit will record everything that's going on inside the unit in this micro SD card. And then you can plug this into your computer and send that information to the company, and they can diagnose the problem. Now, it does have a 1-year warranty. If they can't fix it, the way the warranty works is you simply send it back and they send you a new one. They don't refurbish it or whatever. They send you a new unit. So that's would be the order of operations. If you're experiencing some kind of problem, you'd call their customer support. They're probably going to say, plug this little SD card in the back and record what's going on, plug this thing into your computer, and let us know what's happening. Now, I mentioned earlier also that there's also an Ethernet plug in the back of the unit. And I asked them what that was for. They said, well, on occasion, Tesla could change their software on the vehicles, do an OTA. And if that affects how this unit works, one day it might not work because you got an OTA. What the company's doing is staying on top of all the Tesla OTAs. And if they come across something that makes the unit not work or not work properly, at least, they do a software update. And then you'll get an email and they'll ask you to plug this into your computer, the Ethernet cable into your computer and into the back of this. It can't do over-the-air updates. And they'll update the unit remotely so that it offsets whatever issue Tesla's OTA update did to make it not work. They said that could happen. It has happened in the past with the units they have in China, and they have the system set up so that if whatever Tesla does affect the unit, they can correct it, they can fix it, and then send it out to you, and you plug it in and you update your unit. Not ideal, but that could happen. Other issues that I have with the unit are, in addition to the fact that we can't charge it on 120 volt and that you might need to do a software update, the operating temperature range is not ideal. 14 degrees Fahrenheit to 104 degrees Fahrenheit is not a wide temperature range, specifically in the US where we get extremes. Certainly gets hotter than 104 degrees and it definitely gets colder than 14 degrees. So I'd imagine keeping this in the cabin of the vehicle, if you know you're going to use it, to keep it kind of climate controlled would be ideal, but most people won't. Most people, this will be kept in the frunk or in the trunk of the vehicle, and it's going to be more exposed to extreme temperatures. Now, it does have thermal sensors inside. If the unit gets too hot, it will shut off. I'd imagine that's the way it works. But if it's too cold, it just won't work. But the ambient temperature limit is 104 degrees, not the operating to temperature inside the unit. So it can be 104 degrees outside and it might not shut off until the internal components get 120, 130 degrees. I don't know exactly what that limit is, but I know it has thermal sensors inside so that it will shut off if things get too hot so that there's no type of damage. And the company does tell me that, I don't know how to verify this or not, but with all the units they have out in the field, over 20,000 field, they've never had a problem with the vehicle. Like this unit has never caused a problem with the car. I have to take my face value because I don't have any way of checking on that, but that is what they said. They've obviously had units fail, but the unit has never caused any issue with the car, at least what they're telling me. So, I mean, that's pretty much it for the review here. I like this thing. I think it's a pretty cool unit. It allows you to power a lot of things with this. 3.5 kilowatt isn't an amazing amount of power, but it certainly is enough to do a lot of things. You can charge another electric vehicle on the side of the road. Heck, you could charge two because it's only going to draw the level 1 portable chargers are only going to draw like 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 kilowatts. So you could actually charge two vehicles at once. I doubt if you'd ever come across that instance where you needed to, but you could do that. You could also use it to power a whole bunch of devices, as you saw here. You could use it to do some work outside if you have power tools and so forth. So I think it's good. The price is an issue. $1,299, $1,300 is a lot of money for this. But as I mentioned earlier, I've arranged with the company to have a very significant discount for state of charge followers. You can actually get $300 off, which is a really solid amount. You have to use the coupon code TOM300, TOM300, when you're checking out and ordering it through their website. I don't know if it's available anywhere else on Amazon or anything at this point, but if you go to the RoamEnergy website and you order it and you enter the TOM300 coupon code, they knock $300 off of it. So it will come in at $999. That's still expensive, $1,000, but it's a lot better than $1,300. All right, well, that's all I have here today for the Roam External Discharge Device. It works, it's safety certified, and you can have it for $1,000 now with my discount. That's still expensive, but it's a pretty cool device, and there's a lot of things you can do with it. Now, 3.5 kilowatt is a pretty decent amount of power to offload. You can, as I mentioned, power a lot of things with that. However, but I was talking to the company and they're working on the second generation of this unit. It's not going to be available for a while. They're pretty far along in the development. They're targeting sometime in later 2026. But the new unit is going to have twice the power, 7 kilowatt output. And it's also going to have a 240 volt plug. Now, I don't know how much that unit's going to cost, but if this is $1,300, the regular price before a discount, you know it's going to be more than that. So probably closer to $2,000, which is really expensive. But when you think about it, you can do a lot with that, with the 240 volt outlet plus the 120 volt outlet and 7 kilowatt output. That's some serious power putting out. So I like what RoamEnergy is doing, and this is a really cool device. Hopefully at some point, if they're building these to scale, if they're selling a lot of them, the price will come down a little bit more. This is a tremendously useful thing to have in your car. You know, besides possibly helping another EV owner that ran a little short on energy, there's always seems, at least for me in my life, instances where I come up and in my vehicle and I could use some power. I use the Pro Power onboard on my Ford F-150 Lightning quite frequently. So this is really useful for Tesla owners, and it's really cool that they're putting something like this out. Well, that's all I have here today on the review. If you have any questions about this unit that I haven't answered here, leave them in the comment section. I'll try to answer whatever I can. And if I don't know the answer, I'll reach out to the company and see if I can get you the answers to all of your questions. And if this is your first time here at State of Charge, please hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming electric vehicle news and reviews. And as always, thanks for watching.